race is whenever the final four don't carry.
Here we go, everybody. Welcome to Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Myself, Ken, Scott Patton, joined in the booth by Ken Huber out in Montana. We're watching qualifying session here, round number 6 of the Multi-League Stone River Outfitters Cup Series. Coming to you live from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Watching that Tabasco sauce car going on the track here in qualifying. We'll see how many minutes are left. But how's it going out there out west, Ken?
It's going absolutely fantastic. It's kind of nice and dry out here, and we're out here in the Las Vegas desert. We had an exciting race at Charlotte last week, kind of a fuel mileage pit strategy race where all 3 guys came together at the end. Pretty awesome, and can't wait to see what these guys are bringing tonight. On another note, Jeffrey Merck is back after a 2-race absence. So Jeffrey Merck, after hurricane damage, is back in his sim and going to be out on the track tonight.
He is going to be out there. Let's see where he's at. Let's try to find him. I don't think he's on the track yet for qualifying. We got 2 minutes and 40 seconds left in this session. We'll see if we can get a camera on Mark. There he comes off of pit road. Why not put the focus on him right away and see what Merck is going to do here off the bat with a couple of weeks off there. Like you mentioned, Kim Quick took over for him while he got his house all straightened out. And more importantly, his racing rig straightened out for after the hurricane unfortunately devastated Florida. But he's back in action. And the number 60 Stone River Outfitters Toyota Camry number 60 coming to the start finish line, probably for his green flag lap here. 2 minutes on the clock. Let's see what Merck has for us here.
Yeah, Merck's been pretty awesome this season. Like I said, he missed the last couple of races, had a substitute driver. That would be Kim Quick as he rounds turn 2 there. That was Kim Quick that drove his car there for a couple of races, managed to stay in the top 8. So we're in the final round of 8 here. I think it's 8. Yeah, that's right. And then we got 3 races, and then we will go to the final 4 here.
Merck deciding to take the top side, cross the start-finish line. Let's see where it puts him. I don't see a time. Bottom of the board, 31:027. I got a feeling that was his warm-up lap. And this is going to be his actual fast lap here. We'll see if he has anything for Justin Michael. No stretch of the imagination with the most wins on the season with 11. Top of the board right now with a 30.586 is Justin Michael. Jeff Markoff, turn number 4, qualifying, 1 minute left on the clock. Down to the apron, across the stripe, and Jeff Mark second, 6:08, 2/100ths of a second off of Justin Michael.
Yeah, I was out there running some practice laps with these guys earlier, Scott, and I can tell you that the setup is actually pretty decent. You're a little tight in, and the car rotates really nice from the center off, at least. That was my experience out there on a very hot track. It was about 120 degrees out there during practice, but it has been cooling down. We're down to about 112 degrees track temperature, so that might change things. But I think tire management is definitely going to be key here tonight.
Absolutely, tire management for sure. I ran a couple of laps here during the week. I got my race rig all buttoned up and working nicely here for the week here. First time since February that I ran some hot laps myself. So I ran some official races, and I gotta be honest, I struggled with rear grip. You make those rear tires angry, and they do not like to come back very easy. So I think that's something that these drivers are going to struggle with throughout the night. If you don't take care of them from the drop of the green flag, you're going to pay for it for quite a while. So looks like qualifying is wrapping up. We'll be back here shortly with the starting lineup. 107 laps at Las Vegas. Drivers meeting going on right now. We'll be right back with the starting lineup. Here we go.
Let's go over few of the other rules. Do not clear any black flags. No yellows will be given. If you get a black flag, go in, serve it. Consider it a penalty. Continue on. There you go. You got 17 instant points, and 12 will get you a drive-through. All right? 17 will get you a DQ. If you get an instant from the driver, discuss it after the race, not me. After the race.
Well, Scott's loading up the starting grid here. Kind of exciting here. Like I said, was final 8. Of those 8 drivers that are going for this championship, it's Justin Michael, Jeffrey Merck, Wesley Holland, Billy Bumgardner, Werner Margheim, James Hearns, Charles Widener, and Rod Minton. Those are your 8. The drivers with those red banners on the top of their windshields. Those are the final 8. 3 races to go, and then we're going to cut them down to 4. Everybody, the points are going to zero out at that point, and it's going to be race for the highest position.
Here we go, starting grid. Billy Bumgardner, give it to him in the number 8 car from Charlotte, North Carolina, 30.559. Great to see Billy up here. Of course, he is a playoff contender, still in the top 8. Justin Michael on his outside from Bandit Motorsports. Jeff Merck inside row number 2. And Jeff Gilmore from New Brunswick, Canada. Charlie Widener in 5th. Heath Smith rounding out the top 6 there. Rod Mitten, another playoff contender, and starting in 7th. Jack Watts on his outside in the colorful Budweiser car. Wally Tierhammer, good to see him out here, racing in the top 10 here. Ken Richardson rounding out our top 10 tonight.
Steve Cigars will start in 11th. Matt Rodolosa will start in 12th. Christopher Davis is back and he will start in 13th. Calvin Miller will start in 14th. Kerry Cleaver starts in 69th in that 69 car. Wesley Hahn struggled in qualifying, starts 16th, big playoff contender further back in the field. Christopher Campbell, the last car to take a qualifying lap, will start in 17th. Everybody after this took a provisional qual, and that's Greg Mull will start in 18th, Johnny Hamby in 19th, James Hearns in 20th. There's 4 drivers left out there: Joe Marks, Vernon Margheim, David Schreck, and JJ Garrett. Mr. Excitement rounds out your 24 car field tonight.
There it is, just in time for the pace car to roll off the field. Field is rolling here off of pit road. Looks pretty awesome here. Excited for 107 laps at Las Vegas, one of my favorite tracks, of course. Maybe second to New Hampshire, but I just love Las Vegas because I'm a gambling man. And
used to be my favorite track, Scott, till they banked it. They put like 20 more degrees of banking in it when it was a flat track. That's when it was awesome. You got it.
That's true. I agree. I remember the late 90s, early 2000s, Jeff Burton, Ward Burton battles, Jimmy Johnson, Matt Kenseth battles at Las Vegas when it was more of a flat track. So yeah.
No, it's still an awesome track, and I think with the setup the way it is, and like you said, getting the heat in the rear tires, going to be some exciting racing tonight. Lots of passing, I think, and see who can manage the rear tires the best tonight.
I hear Jeff Merck on the radio. I'm sure you're hearing that too, Ken. Jeff Merck's expressing much appreciation. I don't know the specifics, and I should probably, but a lot of people were involved in getting Merck back up to speed after his house was devastated, to say the least, on the west coast of Florida a couple weeks ago. So people sent him wheels, sent him, I think, his computer. He took his computer with him, salvaged it, but sent him computer screens and everything else to get him back working tonight. Good to see him out here. If he didn't, he just got internet back the other day. If that didn't work, he was planning on running from his iPhone. Here we are, 107 laps at Las Vegas. Let's drop the green flag and go racing. Billy Bumgarner, bring him down to green.
Yeah, it was a really late start for that 8-car Billy Bumgarner. I think he didn't want to get caught with that Geico race. Remember a couple races ago, that caught Justin Michael, but not this time for Billy Bumgarner. It looked like he got a clean start, but he's facing Justin Michael on the outside. Justin Michael getting the outside pole with his teammate right behind him, Jeffrey Merck, following Justin Michael through on the outside. Billy Bumgarner still content running on the inside. He's going to have a challenge with the 57 machine just behind him of Jeff Gilmore.
Side by side off of turn 4 there. Good race to the stripe there, across the stripe for the full grandstand. It looks like lap number 2 going under the belt. Justin Michael leading them down. Jeff Merck in second.
Yeah, we got Charles Widener now underneath the 57 car of Jeff Gilmore right now. Just behind them, Rod Mitten in that yellow and blue machine. Charles Widener looks like he's going to tuck in back there behind Jeff Gilmore. Jeff Gilmore, right up on that rear quarter panel of that 8 car of our pole sitter Billy Bumgarner. Rod Mitten looking to the inside of the 95 right now, down on that white line. Looks like he's going to get the advantage. Might take it a twofer there, going for that 57 of Jeff Gilmore at the moment. Meanwhile, on the outside. Sorry about that, Scott.
I think you were going to say probably meanwhile on the outside, Jeff Merck with the momentum takes the lead. He says, hey, may take him 2 weeks off, but I ain't no stranger to leading the pack. Jeff Merck back where he belongs with the pink rims there. Off turn number 4. Jeff around the outside of Justin Michael for the lead here at Las Vegas.
Yeah, and if everybody remembers, prior to the hurricane, Jeff Merck had won every playoff race. Kind of had a decent season, won 3 races, I think, up to that point. But then when the playoffs hit, Jeffrey Merck was winning them all, and he's back up front tonight.
Was it 3 in a row, if I remember right? I think 3 in a row.
Yeah, it was 3 in a row. The first 3 he took. So Jeff Gilmore now is passing Justin Michael. I think Justin Michael might be looking at managing his tires at the moment. 57 going by on the outside as they come across the line here. Pretty much all double file. Great race. Ken Richardson now up there on the outside of the 95 car. Then we got the Fritos machine. It looks like Steven Cigars in the 016 car. having a good night out there as well, running in that 8th position.
I don't know, but I'm kind of thinking that you're thinking.
So out there in the chat, we got senior Mr. Holland out there. Good evening to you. Michael Melfelt welcoming Jeffrey Merck back to racing.
Oh,
so
there goes a big wreck. Don't mean to interrupt you, but big wreck off of corner number 4 to the front stretch, the 016 of Steve Cigars. You're just talking about him having a great run here, but several cars involved. We'll have to back that one up and take a look probably from the blimp here in a second, but tough break for a lot of drivers. Yellow flag out here for the first time.
Sorry, Terry, I had him locked up.
yeah, I see a lot of parts and pieces with the new damage model too. Oh, and he just does a header in the wall there. Yeah, I don't think that 16 is going to have a hard time running any more laps. It looks like Jack Watts was involved there too, Scott.
Yeah, it looks like Charlie Widener and Steve Cigars just got involved in turn number 4, then collects, as you can see there, Jack Watts and then Calvin Miller in the 20 car. Looks like he just gets by, but several cars, if I'm not mistaken, get involved in this one here, back in the pack. Tough break for a lot of those guys.
You guys, we gotta go. Come on, bud.
Yeah, so they're trying to catch back up to the pace car. This could be one of those things because it happened at the line. Sometimes the NASCAR has a difficult time lining the cars, getting them gridded back up. So our race officials are trying to get everybody gridded back up. And this will probably be a quickie caution here since we only went a couple laps there, Scott. A 7, it looks like. And I don't think anybody went a lap down, so we'll be one shorter lap. So anyway, back to the chat out there. Bandit Racing out there is accusing me of jinxing people again. So imagine that, Scott, as Jeffrey Merck leads a contingent of cars down onto pit lane here.
Here we go down pit road. Jeff Merck leads Jeff Gilmore. So Jeff's up front.
Yeah, meanwhile, Rod Mitten stays out. So I'm just checking here. It looks like about 4 cars stayed out. JJ Garrett, Rod Mitten. I'm just taking a look here. Looks like Johnny Hamby stays out. There's one other driver out there. Looks like Matt Rodoloso. So those 4 drivers stayed out. 5 drivers, I guess it is.
Christopher Davis with a new paint scheme tonight. Trying to trick me up here. Tostitos, number 38. Chevy Z01 there.
Good catch there, Scott. I didn't catch that either. Got through the Wendy's machine away, I guess.
Yeah. Figured it didn't do much good in the playoffs, unfortunately. And Chris Davis didn't make the cut last week after the Roval race at Charlotte.
Yeah, Christopher Davis had a good season. Been running strong. Didn't have any wins. He had a win taken away during Talladega. Crossed under the yellow line there, and that cost him a win there. But pretty good season overall, even though he's not in the playoffs now, Scott. But he was one of the top performers of the series this season.
So let's look back at 5th place is Johnny Hamby. I think you said Johnny Hamby stayed out. Is that right?
Yeah, Johnny Hamby stayed out.
Then Jeff Merck will be the first one off the pit road, leading Jeff Gilmore and Justin Michael. Ken Richardson up there, 3rd off the pit road. And Wally Tierharmer, 4th off the pit road. Good to see Wally up here in the top 10.
So of those drivers that were involved in that incident, looks like we're going back to racing here in another lap. Charles Widener probably is going to have the toughest night of them all because he was one of our playoff contenders, and I don't know if he's got that car back on the track. I'm just taking a look here. Yeah, he's catching back up to the field here. Got as much of the damage knocked out of that thing, and he's racing back around to get that car back up to the tail end of the lead lap here.
There goes that silver Lowe's ZL1 of Charlie Widener with the red banner. He's in the top 8. Hoping for a good night here, but not the way he wanted to start his night, I'm sure, on lap 7. But he's got a re-rack. Doesn't look like too much damage on this car, so maybe you can get back in things. James Hearn is just in front of him there, also a playoff contender.
Well, they're double filed up. The lights are out in the pace car here as they're coming around to turn 4 here, getting ready to hit that Geico restart zone. As they hit the zone, they can go anytime that they're in that zone, and that's that blue stripe along the wall there. I believe this track has a Geico restart zone. Pace car ducks in. And we are away. Green flag is out. Rod Minton will take him down to the line. Going to have Christopher Davis back there in that Doritos machine is still confusing me there. And then Matt Rodoloso inherits that second spot. Looking to the inside, you got JJ Garrett, Mr. Excitement in that Caterpillar car, duking it out with Johnny Hamby at the moment. Johnny Hamby down on the inside. There you see him go 2 by 2, and just behind them, Justin Michael and Jeffrey Merck, the two teammates, both battling it out for this champion. Meanwhile, they got cars in front of them that are all on older tires. And this is what I was talking about, Scott. I really think this can be a who can protect the tires the best during this race. I think you even mentioned it racing this week. And by the way, congratulations on that second place finish yesterday, I think it was.
Yeah, last night did the first race in multi-league, and second to Greg Ball. I don't know if Greg, oh yeah, Greg is here. He's back in 11th right now. No, not 11th. Yeah, 11th, right? I don't know why the camera didn't go there, but
Jeffrey Merck, not to change the subject here, but Jeffrey Merck took it 3 wide there for a second, trying to get by Hamby and the Mr. Excitement, the 79 car, and thought better of it and back out of it.
Here goes Jeff Merck on the outside with the momentum. I think that's the place to be. I do see Merck kind of in and out on the internet connection. Got to give him the benefit of the doubt here. Normally we kind of kick guys to the back of the field when they have internet connections, but I think Merck deserves a pass or two.
Yeah, he's had a rough couple of weeks, that's for sure. Watching Ken Richardson now work on the back of Justin Michael there, trying to get to the outside of him. Couldn't do it there. You can see these guys running 2 different lines there. You look at Ken Richardson running a higher outside line where the momentum is, but Justin Michael down there low. You can see Ken Richardson getting on the outside there. He's in that yellow and black 16 car. And Justin Michael may be sitting back there biding his time, managing tires. Johnny Hamby just behind them. He's on an older set of tires, starting to drift back now a little bit. Rod Minton still holding on to the lead, though, on old tires.
Good job for Rod Minton up here. I like that move. Save a set of tires. You're 7 laps into the run. You already had 7 laps on the tires to begin the race and holding off the entire field here. Hats off to Matt Rodoloso here in 13th, holding off JJ Garrett for 2nd.
Yeah, I was just going to mention them, and then Christopher Davis out there in that teal Doritos, I guess, just to throw us off. I'm still going to have a hard time getting used to that car tonight. And then you see those guys out there with the pink wheels. That's for Cancer Awareness Month. And so the guys are supporting that awareness out there by sporting those pink wheels, Scott.
That's true. Something we do for the month of October here. Multi-league racing. It was a big hit last year. We brought it back this year, and several drivers participating in that. So kind of cool to see. Merck gonna split him here. Thinks better of it. Man, I don't know if I'd want to be 3 wide on the front stretch with JJ Garrett on your inside. What do you think, Ken?
We don't call it Mr. Excitement for nothing. I see. If I remember right, at Charlotte, I remember a couple of passes through the grass. We were kind of chuckling about last week. So he was making it entertaining for us up here in the booth. That's for sure. And you can see JJ Garrett way up high up against the wall there, trying to manage that momentum. He's got a car underneath. I want to say that's Jeffrey Merck on his inside there. It is. As they go into 1 here, Jeffrey Merck takes the low line, should have the advantage now, come up in front of JJ. JJ is on those older tires, so I do imagine they're going to start giving up. It's Justin Michael now closes in on the back.
I think we're starting to see that now, but good on those drivers. Like I said, JJ starting 24th on the field. No better way to gain track position here than to just stay out on pit road and let everybody come into the pits and pass them all on the front stretch. So good on JJ for picking up a lot of track position here. Tight racing here, 1 through, 15 or so. Side by side, Johnny Hamby on the outside, Billy Bumgarner trying to make some positions up here on the inside. We saw him up front early on this thing, our pole sitter.
Yeah, Billy Bumgarner, that was a tough break. Wasn't he involved in the last accident there, Scott?
I don't recall. Was he?
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe he wasn't. Back up, Christopher Davis now on the inside of JJ Garrett in that 79 Caterpillar car. See that Doritos Camaro trying to get by here, staying it pinned down on that white line, trying to get the momentum. JJ's going to have the momentum coming off. Oh, that was almost a close call.
Man, JJ pinches him off the corner there. Chris Davis dives to the inside. I think maybe overcorrects just a little bit, but was probably spooked by how low JJ came off turn 2 there. Nonetheless, we'll see if Christopher Davis slides up in front of the bumper of JJ Garrett here. Clears him on the front stretch.
Yeah, both those guys are on older tires, as I mentioned, Scott. We're lap 20 in, and I believe they can only go about 35 to 40 laps based on my little bit of testing. I was unable to run a full tank of fuel, but I think that's about where our pit window is tonight.
That's probably pretty accurate.
Yeah, so those guys will be looking at probably looking for that pit in another 12, 15 laps. And I just seen JJ Garrett get a little sideways there coming off of 4, so he is probably heating up those rear tires, and being that they're older is probably costing him right now at the moment as the 13 is going by on the outside. Matt Rodolosa. Some great battling tonight there, Scott.
Yeah, a lot of great battling here. Nobody's really pulling away so far, and more importantly, those old tires of Rod Mitten are holding him, doing him a good job there out front, leading this thing in, pulling away arguably from half second over Jeff Merck here. See if Jeff Merck and Justin Michael, those teammates, I think are sorting things out here. Can't decide who's the faster car to lead him to the front. Justin Michael with a crossover move from the front straightaway down to the inside, on the inside of the Stone River Outfitters Toyota Camry of Jeff Merck down the back stretch. Man, it's gotta be frustrating. You probably know what this is like, Ken, when you have two guys that are willing to do battle, and you're like, hey, we're just watching the leader walk away from us while we decide who wants to lead this.
Yeah, but you also know those two teammates, too, are pretty competent at managing their equipment at this point, and as soon as they do get it sorted out, it'll probably start reeling in that 92 car Rob Mitten.
There they are, holding their line through turn 1 and 2. Justin Michael getting a little bit loose off of 2, loses a little bit of momentum, has to get out of the loud pedal. See if he can backtrack here. I think he's going to dive into turn 3 and let Jeff Merck know that he is not done yet. Meanwhile, Christopher Davis got the catbird seat back here. Just waiting for these guys to sort it out.
I was just looking at some other battles on the track, but they got that sorted out. Ken Richardson now under heat from the 41 and Wes Holland. They're back there battling for 10th, basically. Wes Holland gets that position. So Wes Holland, he did not qualify, so he started 16th. He's up to 11th. Wesley Holland is definitely in this chase and wants to make sure he gets into the Final Four. So before the end of the night, I imagine Wes Holland will find his way up front, too.
There he is, started 16th, up to 11th tonight from Colorado Springs. Playoff contender Wes Holland, 5 wins on the season. Most notably, I should say, on a variety of racetracks. Super speedways, short tracks, road courses, you name it. Wes has been there and taken the checkered flag. He's got 5 checkered flags on the A-post to prove it. Around the high side, not afraid of that wall. Wes Holland trying to make up spots here. Lap 25.
Another guy making up spots, basically following Wes Holland up through the field. That's Vernon Margheim in the 33 car. Just got by Ken Richardson. Starting to look for Wes Holland there, just kind of following Wes Holland through all this traffic right now. Letting Wes make the hole, so to speak. And out there in the chat, we got Justin Brown. Justin Brown saying, let's go, Justin. And then there's Elisa Kendall out there, rooting for JJ in the Caterpillar car. Mr. Excitement.
I saw the first comment from Elisa saying JJ, and I was like, hey, Jimmy's not racing here today, but then I realized she's rooting for Mr. Excitement, JJ Garrett, just in front of Vernon Margheim. Look at that timing. Caterpillar car here, 79. Let's see what JJ's up to. Started 24th, currently 9th. A little bit loose as he hits the apron there on the start-finish line, but I mentioned picked up a lot of those spots on the last caution staying out on pit road, but has since gained a couple of those spots back.
And this is where, it's a little nerve-wracking. So these 4 or 5 guys that didn't pit, they're going to have to pit here in about 5 laps or so, and then they're going to be running the risk that they will be a lap down, and then they got to run the risk of keeping that the race stays clean and they can stay out and get back on the lead lap. And that was a close call there with JJ Garrett, and I want to say that was Vernon Margheim, but there was a close call out there. I don't know if we had the cameras on that.
No,
but,
I missed
they got
that one.
Got that sorted out. no harm, no foul, as they say. Lady Luck is on their side at Las Vegas.
Looking through the whole field here on the back stretch. Looks like everybody's got it figured out here. Greg Mall running in 17th in the Miller Unfortunate car. He is unfortunately did not make the cut last week despite his 2 wins on the season. But the Miller Unfortunate car looking for a change of luck here at Las Vegas.
He actually had 3 wins on the season there, Scott.
3 wins.
And the reason
Martinsville, 2 in a row, wasn't? Didn't he go 2 in a row recently?
well, he had the weird coupling, right? He had Talladega or Daytona, I can't remember, one of the plate tracks.
Talladega, yep.
And then he had Bristol, I believe it was, the dirt track, wasn't it? No, that was Andrew Schulte. Now I forgot. I know he had Charlotte, and there was one other, Martinsville. Yeah, so he had a plate, Martinsville, and Charlotte.
You're right. So speaking of running the gamut of racetracks, the shortest track on the circuit being Martinsville, you got the road course at the Roval, and the biggest track on the circuit, Talladega, 2.66 miles. He's got a bookend both ways, and the road course in the middle. Greg Mall with 3 wins on the season, looking for a 4th because he's unfortunately not going to be fighting for a championship this year.
You know what's surprising too, since we're talking about Greg Mall, last night I know in the Retro Series, since we're talking about it, Multi-League runs what's called the Retro Series on Sunday nights, and it's usually some of the past cars in history that they run on Sundays, and Greg Mall won that race. I believe he beat you, Scott.
Yeah, he did.
And so now he's back here. He actually hasn't made up that many positions, up 4 spots on the night, but kind of so far not showing what he's got for everybody at the moment as he goes underneath Ken Richardson in that 16 car.
Yeah, that was last night's race was an awesome race. I went green flag the entire way at Homestead, so unfortunately it took me the first half of the race or so to kind of figure things out with the new wheel, get comfortable, and then by that time Greg already opened up a 7-second gap that I could not close in the second half. So
well, after almost a year, Scott, I think you can be forgiven for that.
All right.
So I'd be happy with second place.
Let's go back up front. What do we got going up front? Rod Mitten looks like Justin Michael closing the gap, bringing along with him Billy Bumgarner. Good to see Billy up here. Like I said, was he caught up in that first incident? Or did
I guess
he?
not. I think,
No.
I don't know, maybe he just slowed up and it just caught me off guard, but I thought he was involved in that first incident, but apparently not, because he seems to be running both the leader and Justin Michael down right now. And Billy Bumgarner, as you mentioned, is a pole sitter, and I think, you know, now that we're getting down to the final 8, he said, you know what, I want to put the time into this thing. And now he's up there running up front, perfectly capable of leading this thing. Oh, Rod Minton goes sideways. I think he's trying to get on the pit lane.
Trying to get pit road, yeah.
Got a lot of rear brake dialed into that car, I'm guessing there, Scott, because that car almost turned on him.
He's the first down to pit road, so not much practice down to pit road. Certainly didn't see anybody else come to pit road entrance, so kind of cold turkey, doing it all on his own here. Unfortunately, stayed on that pit stop strategy, did not work out for him. But things could cycle around here as another 5 or 6 laps. I gotta imagine we're gonna see the rest of the field here in as Justin Michael takes over the lead. Billy Bumgarner just behind him here, actually closing that gap to Justin Michael.
And we're under caution. See, so this is exactly what I'm talking about. This might be a tough break for Rod Minton out there who's on pit lane. I have to see how this shakes out. As we look to see what happened, we had a bunch of cars enter pit lane at the time the caution came out. 38 and 13 were on pit lane when that yellow flag flew. So I think that was Christopher Davis and Matt Rodoloso on pit lane at the moment. Those 2 guys might be leading this thing after this.
See if we can get a camera on exactly what happened down here. I think we may have spotted it.
Yeah.
The 13 of Matt Rodoloso sideways on the pit road entry, potentially all by himself here. So let's go cockpit view with Matt full speed off the apron in 4 and just get sideways. Little overcorrection, back up on the speedway. Cars flying by, Wally Tierhammer on the outside there. A lot of cars zipping by and everybody gets down low on the inside, but gets that car going backwards and righted the right way down pit road, and unfortunately brings out the caution here.
Yeah, he's having a great night, and you know, getting on pit lane. This isn't the first guy we've seen do this. Let's see, Rod Minton had difficulty getting on the pit lane, so these green flag stops and a lot of rear brake dialed into these cars. It makes getting on the pit lane at 160 miles an hour quite tricky. As Justin Michael leads him on the pit lane, pretty much the whole field is coming in to get some 4 fresh Goodyear and a tank of Sunoco, I guess they say.
That they are. I noticed they all stay to the right side there, nice and even, so everybody gets a good view down there to their pit box. Wes Holland in there. Billy Bumgarner, Jeff Markett in the box. Maybe we want to talk to Billy Bumgarner, I want to see how excited he is to be in the front of this field here in the playoff series.
Well, as he gets his service. Everybody's taking all 4 tires. Werner Margheim headed out. Looks like your top 4, Justin Michael, Jeffrey Merck, Jeff Gilmore. Billy Bumgarner struggled on his stop. He's coming out 4th. And then Werner Margheim, top 5 coming off pit lane.
There they are, coming off of pit road, lap number 37. We're about a third of the way through this thing already, Ken.
So are you going to bring Jeff up so we can, Billy.
Billy, let's bring Billy up here. Yeah, sure. Let's chat with Billy Bumgarner here in the number 8 Gatorade car. Man, hats off to you, making a solid top 5 run tonight. How's the view been so far up front, and how exciting was that to close the gap on Justin Michael there just before that yellow?
Yeah, the view up here is definitely better than where I'm at most of the time in the back. I was hoping to go green. I wasn't wanting that caution to come out, but the way it goes sometimes.
Certainly it does. What do you got? You think you can stick with them here? You've kind of proven you got the speed here early on in this thing. Do you have enough speed in that Chevy ZL1 here to last the rest of the race here?
I'm going to try my best to stay with them because, these guys up here know what they're doing, that's for sure. If I can just hang with them to the end, at least I'll have a chance.
All right, sounds good, Billy. And I mistakenly called it a Chevy ZL1. It looks like a Ford Mustang there. Sharp-looking car. I even painted it for you. I should know better, but sharp-looking car there, Billy, nonetheless. So go give him everything you got, and looking forward to a great finish here from number 8 Gatorade car.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Let's just hope you didn't jinx me.
Nah. All right, take care, Billy.
Okay, that was Billy Bumgarner. So as the field gets reset here, I've noticed a couple things. We got a couple guys that looks like JJ Garrett, Rod Minton are going to get a wave around next time by when the lights go out in the pace car. It looks like they're the last cars on the lead lap. I'm just double checking that. Yeah, that's correct. So those guys should get the wave around. I hope so anyway there, Scott. Is that what you're showing? And then I mistakenly called... Oh, no, I didn't mistakenly call it. Werner Margheim did end up the 5th one out. I was thinking it was Wes Holland, but it wasn't. So we'll see what happens when they cross the line here. The lights should go out on the pace car. Like we got a few more cars headed to pit lane here. It looks like Wes Holland, James Hearns, and those guys are headed back to pit lane. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe to top off with fuel. So, yes, back up front, Rod Minton and J.J. Garrett getting the wave around. Stay on the lead lap. They'll be at the tail end. They'll have a few laps on their tires, so that's going to hurt. Especially after that run Rod Minton was having. He definitely didn't want to see that caution come out, but at least he did not go a lap down.
I think you just got the wave around, like you said. Yeah, so staying on the lead lap is Rod Minton. Up front, Bandit Motorsports, Justin Michael, Jeff Merck on the outside, Jeff Gilmore starting 3rd, Billy Bumgarner, who we just talked with, starting in 4th, and... looks like Werner Margheim moving up to good old P number 5.
And what'd you call him there, Scott? He's the fan favorite?
Fan favorite, Werner Margheim. Always a pleasure to talk to during the interviews when we can get one. He's got 1 win on the season back in Auto Club. Just always entertaining to talk to if you've got 10 or 15 or 35 minutes.
Pack a lunch, in other words. All right, lights are out in the pace car. We're coming in turn 4. I expect it to duck off any moment now as they look for that Geico restart zone. Justin Michael, as Scott was mentioning, is down there on the inside. He's got his teammate in the 60. The Stone River Outfitters car. The man is back with the pink wheels. Cancer awareness. Green flag is out. Justin Michael's got the pedal down and making sound.
There it is. There's the view off the back of the number 87 Beretta Toyota Camry 511 Tactical, looking at the entire field. Just nice clean jump here. Lap number 40 on the board. Justin Michael to the bottom. Looks like a side-by-side battle there, back there for Vernon, maybe in 6th or 7th spot.
Yeah, and Jeff Gilmore got a heck of a start there too. Was able to get around Jeffrey Merck there now and finds himself in second. Out there in that gold and white Miller machine. That is a neat color, old school, new school color scheme out there. It's really bright and shiny.
That it is. I think it was maybe left over from a Darlington throwback or something, but I always enjoy Jeff Gilmore's paint schemes. Usually they're, you know, for a while he did some Rusty Wallace themes, which I was a huge Rusty Wallace fan growing up, so good to see the Miller High Life being represented out here. Right in between the Bandit guys of Jeff Gilmore and Justin Michael. Billy Bumgarner hanging on his own there in 4th spot, doing a great job here. Vernon Margheim holding on to 5th.
So just a little bit further back there, battling for 5th. Like you said, Ken Richardson on the outside. I was going to have a shout out to Wally Tierheimer back there. He's currently running in 7th. Kind of trying to challenge that top 5 up there. Can't quite find a hole, but he's having a decent run out there tonight, Scott.
How is this for Vegas? I've got the stat up right now. Wally, his highest spot was 7th. His lowest spot was 7th. And he's currently running in 7th. I don't know if that's accurate, but...
A 777. Oh, my God. That's awesome. That is totally awesome. Hey, Wally, go out and buy a lottery ticket tonight. You know, no matter how late it is, go hit that 7-Eleven. Go get it.
That's pretty funny. As we watch Wes Holland on his outside, looking to pick up spots there. You see the red playoff banner on the outside. The pink and white Ford Mustang. Mobile 1 Ford of Wes Holland here.
Somebody else creeping back into that top 5 or looking for it, and that's Charles Widener back there in the Lowe's. The Silver Lowe's 95 Camaro. Making his way on the outside, following Wesley Holland, trying to get around the 75 of Wally. Wally usually has fans out in the chat tonight. I haven't heard from anybody. Sounds like we had a close call.
Yeah, close call. As we were just talking about, Wally drifts up high, probably through those bumps in turn 1 and 2. They are pretty tricky. If you bottom the car out there, it kind of drifts you up a few inches, if not a couple feet, potentially into the next lane. But Wally does a great job of collecting the car, keeping it on the bottom side. Wally's mother, Martha's usually with us in the chat. Martha, if you're out there, send us a message. Let us know you're watching Wally up here.
Oh, I went back to Mr. Excitement, that the 79 car, JJ Garrett, the Caterpillar car. He's right behind his teammate, or was, the 95 car of Charles Widener. There's all kinds of action happening around him. That's why we call him Matt Redeloso, trying desperately to get by. Now, the 79 car is on a little bit older tires, but it seems to take a few laps, Scott, looking at how before those tires really start to fall off. But oh my God, I'm getting all tensed up watching these guys.
He's kind of in what we call a hornet's nest up here. 2 wide at best, potentially 3 wide coming up here. Charles Widener with a wide entry into turn 1. Billy Bumgarner trying to hold on spots on the outside. And look at all those playoff banners. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them about lined up in a row there, all in a row on the high side on the backstretch.
Oh,
JJ through the middle, 3 wide. Rodman on the inside takes the position from Billy Bumgarner. Does a great job there.
Yeah, I was going to say, Charles Widener went through that hole first. Charles went through it, and his teammate JJ went through it, both taking that field 3 wide. So quite exciting back here, battling for that 10th position. Rod Minton, who is running up front, our leader before the caution, or right before the caution, kind of making his way back. He's up in there in that top, hanging back there behind Willie Turheimer down there on the bottom. Looking for a way around that Caterpillar car right now, looking to the inside. Down on that white line as they cross the line, no dice there. He'll wait another corner or 2 before he attempts it again.
There it is, Charlie Widener on the outside. And while this was all going on, let's go back up front. If my scoring is right and the picture is right, by golly gee, Jeff Gilmore leading this thing takes the lead from Justin Michael.
New leader, that's impressive. So 57 kind of showing some presence out there at the moment. Billy Bumgarner, after we spoke to him, I'm going to say if anybody jinxed him too, that'd be you, Scott.
Yeah, sorry, Billy, but
Jeff Gilmore, for the Bandit guy.
Yeah.
Time for the Bandit guy to start calling you out.
Where's Chris when you need him? I know you're out there watching, Chris. Here's Merck and Justin's going by with Merck here on the backside of Justin Michael. And we've seen this picture 1,000 times here this season so far. Chasing down that Beretta Toyota Camry.
Yeah, and just behind those two, you got the 41 of Wesley Holland and that Ford Mustang. Those are your top 3 point sitters right now, too. So they're running 2, 3, second, third, and fourth, basically. Vernon Margheim, they're rounding out your top 5 just behind them. So these 3 and 4 drivers, they've found each other, and we're about almost halfway through the race.
50 laps of 107, 51 going on the board now. There it is.
Yeah, and Jeff Gilmore's opened about a half-second lead over Justin Michael right now, so having a good run. I have a feeling after Justin Michael's last run, though, I have a feeling that Justin is doing his best to save tires at the moment. Almost a close call there. It looks like the 95 had to check up. Lost a position or two. There was some big checkup back there. It was 95 on the inside of Rod Mitten. It's Charles Widener right now. Oh, JJ Garrett, Mr. Excitement, headed to pit lane through the grass.
Still mowing him down on the front stretch. He gasses it up, tries to get it going the right way, hopefully. He's just doing donuts, I guess, on the front stretch. No caution out from what I've seen. Are we in a caution?
No, we are still green. If he keeps it he keeps it down there below the racing line, we should stay out of green.
Back here in second, the battle's heating up between Justin Michael, Jeff Mark, and Wes Holland here for the second spot. I don't know how long these guys have been comfortable riding nose and tail, but if you were Wesley Holland's spot, Ken, what would you think? Would you look at trying to pass on the high side or trying to pinch the car down and dive it to the bottom? What would your preference be?
I really don't know, Scott, but I tell you what I would do if I was in Wesley Holland is I would just ride back there because, you know, Justin Michael is super strong. So is Jeffrey Merck on these tracks, and I would try to figure out what they're doing to save tires. I think that's the one thing that Wes hasn't been able to beat him on too many times this year. And I think just to sit back, he's got 50 laps to do some studying, and maybe he's got it figured out by the time we get to the end of this thing.
Yeah, that's a good point. Certainly what I would be doing is chasing the guy with the most wins on the season, number 11. Count them, 11 wins for Justin Michael, leading that Ford Mustang. 41 of Wes Holland there in fourth. Just as I say that, Wes Holland looks to the outside. Great battle here. Wes has got the spot. I think that would be the spot that I would want to be in there on the outside if I had to make a move to pass somebody here.
Meanwhile, up front, 57 still holding strong. He is starting to lose some time. Lost about a quarter of a second to Jeffrey Merck as he's approaching the back of Christopher Davis right now in that Doritos car, about to go a lap down. And I believe Christopher Davis was caught on that last caution. Not sure why he's so far back at the moment, but he was on pit lane when that last caution came out.
There goes Jeff Gilmore, the Miller High Life Chevy looking on the inside. Probably trying to complete this pass here off turn number 2, which will put Christopher Davis, unfortunately, did not make the playoff run last round. Got cut out of the top 12. But nonetheless, trying to make a stink here in Stanley lap, hopefully, and make something happen in the second half of this race.
Well, I totally mispredicted Wesley Holland there. So Wesley Holland must have turned up the candle as soon as I said, "Oh, just stay back and, you know, keep it cool and watch what these guys are doing." He says, "No, I'm going to show them how to do it." Now he's putting all kinds of pressure on the two leaders right now, Jeffrey Merck and Jeff Gilmore. Basically really put his foot down.
Car goes to the outside. Of course, he made that pass when we were watching Wes Holland on the outside of Justin Michael. Justin Michael, I'm sure, has no choice when somebody gets to your outside as fast as Wesley Holland is. I'd give up that spot. Wesley Holland, look at the back bumper of Jeff Merck here, up for second spot. Next victim.
Yeah, and you can see Jeff Merck wants to go by on the outside there. You can see just the way he's approaching the corner there. Wes Holland way up against the wall there, and you can see Wes Holland trying to bring the car down. I think he's trying to get momentum off by doing it that way. Jeffrey Merck up there on the outside now with Jeff Gilmore as they enter 3. 60 bails it in there. Looks like he's going to get it accomplished here perhaps. And maybe not, but yeah, they're still side by side as they come across the line here. 60 car with a little bit of advantage, but that 41 is going to attempt to follow here. See that really wide line that the 41's taken? He's back there in third. That should give him the momentum to get up on the outside, but that 57 throws the block up there, prevents that forward momentum.
Oh, and the 57 gives him the lane, kind of fades to the inside, gives Wes exactly what he's looking for. There he goes as he gets to the right rear quarter panel of Jeff Gilmore off of turn number 4. I think Jeff's going to have a hard time defending this move as we go into turn number 1 here.
And Scott, I think you experienced this too, and we talked about it at the top of the show tonight. If you get too much heat in the rear of these tires, so if you drive this car really hard around this track, those rear tires get super heated up. That might be why Jeff Gilmore is starting to struggle right now, because he went out of there, as strong as he could, it appeared, and now those rear tires seem to be giving up on him, and the car is getting pretty free on him.
I think so, and what I experienced is the car became extremely difficult to control, so we'll see if that case continues to worsen for Jeff Gilmore. Nonetheless, doing a great job battling here side by side with Justin Michael as Justin dives it in there in turn number 2 and slides up just in front of Jeff Gilmore's bumper off turn number 2 here. Look at Ken Richardson joining the party.
Yeah, I was just going to call him out there, see him sneaking his way back into this thing. And Ken Richardson can be up or down on these things too. He's a pretty fast, competent driver, sometimes really aggressive and sometimes really good at managing tires. So maybe he's got something for these boys later on in this race.
I think Wes Holland eyeballing Jeff Mark still up front, following in trail, but eager to make a move whenever Jeff Mark decides to slip up. But so far, the 7 wins on the season prove that he is not willing to slip up, as he has a little bit of internet problems there still in the middle of turn 3 and 4.
I got to shout this out. The 7th position again, Rod Mitten. That 92 car. Kind of up and down night for Rod Mitten, but back in his starting position back there in 7th.
I don't think I promise I didn't pre-plan that, but I don't think the prior graphic was correct. Now it's correct, I think. Highest of 6, lowest of 18th, and currently running 7th. So,
well, there is something there, Scott. Now I want to buy a ticket.
Right? We got at least 1 7 in there for Rod.
Just behind him, you got Billy Bumgarner, who's been slowly closing in on Rod Mitten, and Billy Bumgarner is our pole sitter. Extremely quick tonight. We had a race interview. I'm not sure why he dropped back at the start of this thing, but it looks like he's starting to try to climb his way back up front here.
There he is, Billy running in 8th. This battle we're watching with him and Rod Mitten up front is for 8th spot, 3.7 seconds off the lead as he dives to the inside. Tries to show Rod a bumper, but fortunately can't get it glued down there with that shallow entry into turn 3.
Nothing up front has changed too much, although Wes Holland, or I'm not sorry, not Wes Holland, but Jeffrey Merck has opened up about 3/4 of a second over his teammate of Justin Michael, who just got around Wesley Holland on the inside there. So Wesley Holland, he turned up that wick after I said not to, and he might be paying the price for that.
That's true. One thing I learned for sure from Justin Michael, I've said this several times throughout the year, but if Justin Michaels floats back on you and seems like he's running slower off pace, it's probably for a very calculated reason. And this is exactly the reason, where he comes to life halfway through a run with better tires, better fuel mileage. We watched him win several races, at least a couple that I can think off the top of my head this season, strictly on fuel mileage, beating the entire field. So Justin Michael putting another race together here, 3/4 of a second off the lead of Jeff Merck.
I also want to point out something about Justin Michael's line here. Everybody else is running a higher line, but Justin Michael's been running a lower line. And I think the reason for that is at least during my practice tonight, if you're running a little bit high and you force the car down to the bottom, that's when it wants to free up on you and get those rear tires really hot. But I think by doing an earlier apex like Justin Michael's doing, he's keeping those rear tires a little cooler, and that's allowing him to manage that rear set a little bit better than everyone else. Although when I say everyone else, he's almost a full second behind his teammate, Jeffrey Merck.
Not for nothing, but we heard in the onboard camera that Justin Michael clutching it there in both turn 1 and turn 3. So already in fuel-saving mode here. Just 68 laps into 107, about just under 30 laps, 40 laps to go.
Justin Michael's having flashbacks to his race last week after losing that one to his teammate, Greg Mall. over fuel, over, what was it? 2 corners of fuel is what he was missing in that car.
That was. Speaking of which, let's play it now. Why not? I told Greg Mall we'd have fun with this one this week. I put together a small scene here, so let's look at the highlights from last week. This is the last lap here at Charlotte Roval, and Greg Mall had sent me a message about having Darrell Waltrip, DW, Mike Joy, and Larry Mack in the booth from a race years ago when they called Dale Earnhardt Jr. running out of fuel. This was the call from those guys, matched up to the final lap last week at the Roval. Let's have some fun with this one. We'll be right back in a minute here. We'll leave the live racing for you here in the small corner, and we'll watch the highlight here from last week. Here we go.
But he also knows that that's the time when he might run out of fuel, a half to 3/4 of a lap short. So let's see how close Letarte was on the fuel mileage.
We've seen it happen, but here they come off turn number 4. And the white flag will be waving with Keselowski half a second behind. All right, which lane? Junior up high, Keselowski middle.
But
down
he knows he keeps getting that good run on the hot side off the 2.
But Keselowski closer.
Oh, he's out.
He's got the lap, then Junior is out of gas.
3/4 of a lap. You're out.
Oh,
It's back running though. It's back running. It's probably not. It's going to keep surging on it.
Yeah.
and Brad Keselowski comes on the corner. Hole in one for the captain. Checkered flag for Keselowski.
Wow.
What a weekend.
Wow.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. did have enough to make it back into the second.
There's the call. Kind of a fun little tidbit we did there. There's the highlight last week from Mike Joy and Darrell Waltrip in the booth. Speaking of professionals in the booth, should we talk about this? What's coming up in a couple weeks, Ken?
I don't know. That's entirely up to you. You got it arranged, so entirely up to you.
Sure, why not? Let's debut it now for the season finale in Phoenix this year. The Multi-League Cup Series. Proud to welcome. We're gonna have Dr. Dick Berggren. Yes, you've seen him on CBS, TNN, all the old TV networks throughout the late 90s and early 2000s. Dr. Dick Berggren is going to be joining us in the booth, side by side, literally in my house, side by side with me, calling the action with Ken Huber for the season finale. How exciting is that going to be, Ken?
I'm really looking forward to it. I'm also very nervous because, I'm just an amateur out here. He's a professional.
That's why I'm going to be relying on him. We're all amateurs.
Anyway, a lot of cars headed to pit lane. I was going to call out. You can see why Justin Michael was clutching it because we got 35 to go. A lot of people started hitting pit lane with about 38 to go. Wesley Holland now on his pits. Wesley Holland was getting extremely loose, and I think that was exactly what I was talking about there, Scott, with him overheating those rear tires. He finally had to get that car down. 35 to go. I imagine Wes Holland can make it at this point with 35, but there's a bunch of guys that had to come in sooner, and they probably can't. So there is a bit of a fuel mileage issue starting to happen here towards the end of the race.
So I think this lap is going to be noteworthy, right? 30, let's call it 34 from the end. Is that what
That's what I'm sure.
your math shows? So 34 from the end. We know that Justin Michael, we saw from the cockpit view, was saving gas in turn 1 and 3. Let's go on board one more time to see if he's continuing to save that fuel, or if he's got enough at this point. Staying out this lap on lap number 75. We'll see what he does down here in turn number 1. And the car is running pretty solid here. So that tells me that Justin Michael's the only one who hasn't pitted yet. He's got the entire lead lap to himself.
I think that's kind of what he was wanting. He probably thought, oh, I can go another lap or two and maybe I can put the whole field a lap down. But the longer he stays out, he's going to be giving up some time now with guys on newer tires. So can't imagine he'll stay out too much longer. And as I said that, here he comes into pit lane, hot in there. Shows what a pro he is. That was a perfect pit lane entrance right there.
There it is, Justin Michael, lap 75 on the board. So he's got about 31 laps or so, if my math is right here, when he comes back on the... Stayed out about 3 laps longer than the rest of the field, I believe.
Yeah, Justin Michael, I feel, is perfectly safe now. The question is how much time did he give up to the field by staying out as long as he did? He's going to have to run a lot of these guys like his teammate back down, I would imagine. But that was a professional pit stop that Justin made. So, I don't know, Justin might have made up some time getting on the pit lane here. We'll see.
Speaking of making up some time, yeah, as exits pit road, you're going to watch this race here. We'll see if we can catch the race maybe from the blimp cam. There's Justin Michael way back there. As Vernon Morgan goes flying by, Wes Holland, Ken Richardson, all these guys flying by Justin Michael, losing a ton of time, probably 6+ seconds if I had to guess. But nonetheless, up front here, David Schreck, where did he come from? Do you know, Ken?
I don't. Maybe he went back there and topped off. That's why he's up there running there with Rod Minton as well. So my guess is these guys were able to top off these cars and get a few more laps in it. Rod Minton, I'm showing as the current leader right now with, looks like Jeff Gilmore on his heels, David Schreck in third. Kind of interesting. We don't get to talk about David Schreck too much out there in that number 9 Coors car.
Yeah, good to see him out here. As low as 17th, highest is 4th, which is where he's running right now in that Coors Extra Gold car.
Yeah, the field's kind of really jumbled up. I'm not sure what happened with some of these cars, Scott. Whether they pitted early and that allowed them to make up the track time, but my sense is it must have topped off. I guess we'll have to watch and see when they hit pit lane. But they're staying out, so I'm going to assume maybe they pitted early. And these guys will all have to...
I'm showing the stints right now. David Schreck with 13 laps on his tires compared to Rodman has 10. Jeff Gilmore 8. And then Jeff Merck with only 6 laps on his tires. Justin Michael, of course, being the most recent to pit, stayed out the longest with only 3 laps on his tires. So 3 laps on Justin Michael was the leader before this stint, and then David Schreck comparison is 10 laps behind him on the pit strategy.
Yeah, and Justin Michael's only 4.5 seconds off the lead currently. I imagine that'll change the next time by. Actually, probably pick up a little bit of time. But I feel confident Justin Michael is going to, he gained 2/10 there. So I think, let's see, we got 28 laps to go. That's still quite a bit of time here at Las Vegas. So Justin Michael rolling the dice. He's not going to get beat on fuel strategy tonight, or at least in that sense, run out of fuel.
Question is, can most of these other guys who have pitted just behind or just before Justin Michael, I should say, can they make it? So Justin Michael is on 4 laps on his tires. Let's go to the next. Wes Holland with 7 laps, 8 laps. Ken Richardson with 9. So, that could get really interesting towards the end of this thing.
And Jeffrey Merck, too, you said 6 laps when I checked it when he called it out. I think that gives him... He has to run 35 laps, which was right at the edge of the window. When I remember the first set of pit stops, we had 1 caution flag in there, and pretty much everybody was coming in on lap 35, if you remember, Scott. And that was with 1 set of caution laps. So that was 3 caution laps. So that could be really close.
Absolutely. As we watch these cars go into turn number 1 here, pretty much single filed out, starting to stretch things out. Best battle on the track potentially here is back with Rod Minton, Vernon Margheim, and Ken Richardson looking on the high side there to pick up some spots.
Yeah, we see Vernon Margheim on the outside having a solid run tonight. Haven't talked about him too much. Getting by on the outside there. Vernon does know how to get it done when he needs to. And it looks like he's going to complete that pass there as he does tuck down in front of that 92 car. Now the 92 under pressure from the 16 of Ken Richardson. See, Ken Richardson sails it off into 1. Trying to get the momentum coming off of 2 here, which it looks like he's got. Should clear him before the entrance of 3, and he does. Rod Minton will tuck in behind that 16.
There we are on board with Rod Minton. Oops, just lost him here. There's Rod.
Yeah, the 16, Ken Richardson got sideways. That allowed the 92 to get back on the outside there. Ken Richardson just passed him. And
they almost banged fenders there in turn 1 and 2. Ken Richardson probably floats over the bumps there and enters a little bit high through turn 1.
Ken Richardson is all kinds of sideways. Wes Holland was basically pushing him back down the backstretch, saying, hey, dude, get out of my way, man. You're going to drive the car like that. And Ken Richardson sideways again here, having a heck of a time trying to hold on to that car at the moment. See Wes Holland down on his outside. I'd be kind of nervous about Wes Holland watching that 16 car at the moment.
Wes says, I want nothing to do with it. I'm going all the way up to the wall here in turn 1. Big momentum off turn 2, picks up that spot. Tries a crossover maneuver. There it is. There's a crossover. Gains the momentum. Dive into turn 3 for Wes Holland here, trying to pick up 2 for 1 in 1 lap. Ken Richardson and Rod Minton out the backside for Wes Holland.
Well, that was a certainly exciting couple of laps there, Scott.
Martha's in the chat now saying, I'm watching Wally. Keep moving forward, Wally. Let's see where Wally is. Trying to crack the top 10 here. Back in 11th right now.
Yeah, my chat seems to be a little stalled here at the moment. I don't understand, Scott, but I'm sure I'll get it back here. I didn't catch that.
Yeah, we're on board with Wally right now here in 11th spot. A couple seconds off the back bumper of David Schreck, looks like. Actually, I said a couple seconds. I think that's a lap car in front of him. David Schreck is all of 12 seconds or so in front of Wally. You know, it's kind of shocking up here. Back up front, Jeff Gilmore still holding on to this thing. Vernon Margine makes his way around Jeff Merck for second spot. Not sure where that happened while we were, or if I missed it, but Vernon Margine, good to see him up here in second spot.
Yeah, I'm curious because I wasn't paying attention to, and Jeffrey Merck gave up the lead somehow, and I don't know if he got sideways, kind of been the issue of the night here this last set of laps. I imagine the track is cooling down, and that might be a issue there too, Scott, as we get later in the afternoon sim time here. And I'm just going to take a quick peek. Yeah, we're down to 101 degrees. Like I said, we started practice at about 120 degrees, so we're down 20 degrees right now. You see Wes Holland going by the inside of Jeffrey Merck now. Wes Holland, though, did chew the tires off that last run, so I don't know if that's going to be his plan here in the closing laps of this thing, too.
Yeah, we will see as we just put lap 89 on the board. That means that was our Ken Conley tribute lap, brother. Last lap for the lap number 88 for Kent Conley, and I believe, did you hear correct? Was that Jeff Gilmore, I think, saying that he's going to pit this time?
Yeah, we'll have to see how cleanly it gets. So you see everybody going to the outside there. So it looks like Jeff Gilmore is headed to pit lane here. And he gets, looks like he gets to the entrance nice and clean. That gives us a new leader. Vernon Margine's going to lead at least one lap here as Wes Holland looks to his outside as they cross the line here. Wes Holland likes to run it up on there, the Kyle Larson line, all the way up against the wall there. Kind of pinch it down towards the end of the corner, yeah.
Vernon with no choice but to give it to him. Gets a little bit sideways off of turn number 2, trying to keep it pinched down to the inside to stay off of Wes Holland's left rear fender there. Does a great job. Nice clean racing here. Great battle of this top 4. Justin Michael joining this mix. Big momentum off his teammate Jeff Merck. Chooses the outside. Probably going to take that spot here in turn number 1. Great four-way battle here for the lead.
And where the heck did Justin Michael come from? So he was 4.5 seconds, and all of a sudden he's up here. Basically a half a second off the lead. Less than that. Starting to push Wes Holland there as he goes by Vernon Margine here on the outside. Going to clear that position. Leaving his teammate back there. Oh, Vernon Margine way off the pace there. I think Vernon Margine headed towards the pits.
Yeah, there's Vernon. Justin Michael, remember, he's the one that can more than likely make it to the end. I don't know if these other guys can, but Justin Michael, remember, he lost a ton of spots and a ton of time. He came out on pit road that last time by under green flag, probably a good 6 to 7 seconds off the pace of the lead. Now he's back here wrestling with the lead, with the advantage as well. Back to the lead by Wes Holland with the added advantage of being able to make it potentially all the way on fuel here.
Wes Holland,
yeah.
Yeah, Wes Holland off the pace, headed to pit lane. So I was kind of surprised. So I think Jeffrey Merck, if I had to guess, might be, let me see where Jeff is at. He might have had to back it off because Jeff Merck, I think, had 35 laps to do this thing, and Jeffrey Merck might find himself in a fuel conservation mode at the moment.
Let's go on board with Merck now and see if he's shutting the car off at all. There it is. There's the clutch. Shuts the car off in turn number 3. Maybe a little bit behind the power curve in the thought process of where Justin Michael has been for the last 30 laps.
Well, here's somebody we haven't talked about. Calvin Miller in the 20 car is out there running. I think we'll be in 3rd position this time by. I'll have to double check that when my timing and scoring catches up. So.
That's what mine says. Yeah. But I think that's probably a result, kind of like David Schreck, where they kind of cycled towards the front on the pit stop strategy. But I got to imagine that Calvin Miller, let's take a look here. 21 laps on his tire, so he's about the same. He pitted on the same lap as Jeff Merck and Wally Tierhammer. Wally, props off to Wally, running 4th right now, but more than likely going to have to pit here before the end of this thing.
Well, looking at this race now, Scott, the way it's playing out, I would think that the only thing that Justin Michael's got to worry about is a caution at this point, because what he did that last fuel stint by saving all that fuel and being able to come in on with 31 to go or so made himself safe on fuel, and he can just go like mad, and he's showing it. He's just pulling away from everybody. I think the guys that are on the bubble are trying to save fuel. No saving fuel for Justin Michael. I think he's got this one. So Justin Michael has probably just got his fingers crossed this thing can stay green the rest of the way.
I think you're spot on there, Ken. And I think Justin Michael, like you said, he did all his fuel saving when it mattered in the middle of the race, when he knew it could potentially be a fuel mileage race. Now all these guys are kind of chasing their tails, trying to save fuel at the end of this thing, when Justin Michael is doing nothing but putting the gas pedal down, putting down fast laps, not saving fuel. Let's go on board real quick to just double check that, but I can almost guarantee you, with coming across the line with 97, 10 laps to go here in turn number 1, he is not saving fuel. Notice that clutch is not going in. Engine sounds loud and strong and fast. 10 laps to go here. Justin Michael putting him down, opening up a 2-second gap over Jeff Merck.
Yeah, and he's doing it about 0.3 a lap, and I think that's just a result of Jeffrey Merck having to save fuel. And, you know, Jeffrey Merck's probably, I don't know, he's probably right in that window, maybe safe, maybe not, but it'll be interesting to see. He's got the lap car, Wes Holland, who had to come in, couldn't make it on fuel, is going by on the outside now of Jeffrey Merck, trying to get back on the lead lap in case that caution does come out, but it appears he's in the lucky dog spot if it does.
There are a lot of guys. There goes Jeff Gilmore around the outside, trying to get his lap back, but like we talked about, Jeff Merck running this uphill battle right now, trying to save fuel at the end of this thing. Just 4 cars on the lead lap, including Wally in 4th. Martha down there in the chat saying, Wally, I wish you could stay in 4th. I don't know. Let's see what Wally's doing if he's saving fuel. I know he's on the same team strategy as, or in the same team chat, nonetheless, as Justin Michael up there. Looks like he's kind of taking it easy there. Looks like he's out for a Sunday stroll, maybe saving a little bit of gas.
And I got my chat working again there too, Scott. So that's good news, right? With 9 to go, 8 to go. Better late than never.
Right?
I was jealous that you were able to see all of that, and I was like, I can't see anything.
Usually it's the other way around. Usually you're playing chat control down there. But
I had to do a little bit of that tonight, Scott, but we got that all under control. Back up front, Justin Michael in heavy traffic. Ken Richardson getting his lap back. Ooh, that was a close call there.
We've seen that move before.
Says, let me by. Ken, you're safe. You're back on the lead lap, man. You got to hope. You got to wait for the caution now, because he does have 3 guys he's racing for position just ahead of him. He's got Jeff Gilmore and Wes Holland up there. Both got their laps back. Got looks like Werner Margheim now trying to approach that 87 car and get his lap back as well.
Here he comes, coming on strong here. Werner Margheim, a little bit deceiving. He's going to be probably faster. Look at that. Tires around the outside. Justin Michael says, go ahead. I'm not racing you for the lead, but we saw Werner putting up a heck of a battle there for the top 4 or 5 spots there early on in this race, but running into fuel problems here. Late in this race, 7 to go. Justin Michael again proving that he can put together a race from the green flag to at least 7 to go. We'll see about the end of this thing here shortly.
Yeah, it looks like he's backed it down slightly too. I have a feeling that he's just taking it easy, not getting those tires heated, because he really hasn't opened up a big gap on his teammate Jeffrey Merck. About 2.5 seconds behind is Jeffrey Merck, running in second, back in fuel conservation mode. Wesley Holland is back in third, although he's nearly 29 seconds back because he had to race to get back on the lead lap. But Wes Holland making the best of the situation right now, running as strong as he can, trying to maybe hope for a caution, or maybe those 2 guys are Justin Michael have an issue, Jeff Merck have an issue, and maybe he can pull one off.
Yeah, I think to describe this leaderboard, the people that are watching, the fans out there, if you look to the leaderboard on the left there, Justin Michael, of course, leading this thing by saving fuel as we come to 5 to go. Jeff Merck just 2 seconds behind, but Jeff, we know, is... Whoa! Oh, there he is. There's Jeff there. Saving fuel constantly. We don't know if he can make it to the end of this thing. Wes Holland, 25 seconds off the pace, but he's running faster laps by far. Wes Holland last time by with a 32.5. Justin Michael with a Wes Holland with a 31.5. Justin Michael with a 32.9. So 2.5 faster for Wes Holland in 3rd spot. However, he's made 1 additional pit stop, so that's why you see that 25-second gap there. Jeff Gilmore in the same boat. So But I'm interested. I think the one variable we're going to be keeping an eye on here, kind of as things wind down to 4 to go, is Jeff Merck. Can he hold on to second spot here? I think he's the variable in this whole thing.
Yeah, I agree. So hopefully Jeff is good at saving fuel and can get this done. He's pretty safe in that second spot as long as he can manage that fuel. He's got nearly 23 seconds over Wes Holland. So, and he is having some connection issues. So maybe every time he blinks out, that saves a little bit of fuel there too, Scott. I don't know.
Hopefully, I'm sure he can take everything he can get his hands on at this point.
Don, like you said, is out there saying, "Get her done, Merck." No matter what happens with that 60 car, it's a great comeback after the issues that they struggled with in Florida this year with the hurricane. So doing a fantastic job being back in 2 weeks. Internet connection be damned. We got 2 to go.
Here it is. Jeff Merck out front. Just kind of, I'm sorry. Whoa! Justin Michael out front. See? You start looking at the chat and trying to talk at the same time. I don't know. But Justin Michael out front with 32.3 last time by. Maintains that gap of about 2.2 seconds. 2 seconds to the lead is as good as 50 seconds to the lead. The trophy is the same size.
Yeah, and there goes Justin Michael. He's crossing the line right now. 1 to go. The white flag is out. Can Jeffrey Merck make it on fuel? He's back there conserving the fuel. This could be potentially disastrous for Jeffrey Merck right now. That's probably the nail biter of the night. Wes Holland probably safely back there in third, although 20-some seconds back there off the lead, but plenty of fuel to get it done. So Jeff Merck is the one I'm watching right now as they head towards the stripe here.
Yeah, let's watch Wes Holland just taking the white flag now. That's how far off lead he is, but chooses to stay out on the racetrack. Gotta believe he thinks he can make it the entire way. As Justin Michael across the stripe takes the checkered flag. Jeff Merck does make it to the checkered flag. And let's look back at third spot. Wes Holland here, if he can make it.
Yeah, Wes Holland exiting 3 here, looking for that stripe. He's got Vernon Marga. I'm trying to chase him down, but Vernon's giving it all it's worth right now. He's back there just behind Wes Holland, about a second. Wes Holland crosses the line in third. That's your podium. Vernon Margheim in fourth. Jeff Gilmore, a strong run in that Miller Camaro. I think it's a Camaro. Comes in fifth. Ken Richardson,
6. Rod Mitten, who we saw early on running up front in 7th, and Wally Tierheimer in 8th. Billy Baumgartner and David Schreck running out the top 10.
Did you make the finish line, Mark?
Yeah, so 7 cars there. Scott finished on the lead lap. So it was a war of attrition out there. Tires and fuel, it looks like, was the order of the night. I think we called that one from the start.
Not really.
That we did, as Justin Michael burns him down here at Las Vegas. Win number 12 going on the season, proving that he is a contender nonetheless for this championship as things wind down with just 3 races left. Homestead, Martinsville, and Phoenix here.
Yeah, Homestead, that's going to be another one there, Scott. We've kind of got some consistency now in the schedule with these races, and I think this is playing right into Justin Michael's wheelhouse. I guess we can ask him when we bring him up to the booth here, and then Martinsville is like you and both of our favorites, I guess, so always going to be fun to call Martinsville as well.
Yep,
Jeff,
certainly.
Molly, I thought you guys might have a chance there for a while.
Hey, Ken, if you can take over the interviews here. I got to run for a quick second. I'll be right back. But if you can drag these guys and talk to the top 3.
Yep, certainly will. So let me step away for a minute here, and we'll bring these guys up, and we'll interview them here shortly.
Yeah, that turbo we put underneath that hood. He is in line at the inspection thing, isn't he?
Even if I saved, I just...
Okay, hey, want to welcome everybody to our race winner, Justin Michael. You're up here with the booth in the booth with myself, Ken Huber, and Scott had to step away for a moment, but congratulations on that win. And I got to say, what a power move. Early in the race, I guess the stint before this last stint, it seemed like you were saving fuel when you didn't seem to really need to, but then you were able to fill that thing up and just power your way for this win. Is that kind of what your strategy was going into the night?
Well, no, because we knew that you couldn't make it 36 laps. I think one of them had to be 37, something like that. But no, we knew it wasn't going to happen. But once the yellows kind of fell our way there, I knew what my limit was on a tank, and I knew I could push it enough and get there and have enough left over. I ended up actually with 2 laps left in my tank, so I actually stayed out too long that first run. So, but hey, I mean, hey, it's always good to have a little extra.
I got to tell you, Scott and I were watching this. This was a great race from our standpoint. A lot of side-by-side racing tonight. One other thing that was surprising, I think iRacing gave you guys a pretty decent setup. It seemed like if you got a little heat in those rear tires and if you drove it properly, the car got a little free, especially from the center off. Is that what you kind of experienced out there tonight?
Oh, definitely. Especially with the hot track that we had, it was definitely really loose coming off the turns. You had to manage that early, or you were not going to have good tires towards the end of the run, and that's what we did the first run, and it really paid off because I think we were leading after the first stint there, and I hated for all those yellows to come out because I think at that point, we would have been able to just pull away from everybody, but.
Yeah, well, you kind of did that anyway, and Scott is going to have to add another wind sticker to that car, and I'm actually looking at it right now, and now you're going to have a nice even dozen on the A pillar, I guess, of that car.
Yeah, I only care about one more win, and that's all. So, well, actually, not even that. I just need to finish ahead of everybody at Phoenix. So, but this will definitely get us a good momentum towards that, and just get a good finish the next 2 weeks is all we need to lock ourselves in.
Yeah, and your teammate had a really good run, finishing second. So 1-2 for the Bandit Boys again. You guys strike again. What do you got next week for Homestead? I imagine for you, it's another one of those favorite tracks.
Actually, I don't like Homestead. I'm not that good there, but
is it because it's too flat?
No, it's not too flat. The old track was before they put the banking in, but I don't know. I just never ran that good there. Figured some stuff out the past couple times we raced there to get a little better, but still not the best. I know Merck runs really good there, so he'll be he'll probably be up front there, and as long as we can get a top 5, that's all I really care about.
Well, I hope you make it as exciting as it was for us tonight. That was really good show of talent here on the ovals. I was really impressed with your pit entry there too. That last pit stop, probably the best that I've seen tonight. So congrats on that win. You got anybody you want to thank tonight before we move to your teammate?
Just everyone out there watching. Hopefully it was a good show. I had a couple friends out there who were watching, so hopefully they're sticking around for this. And just you guys for calling a good race as always. And Scott there from Patent Paints, so we'll put him to a little work this week, adding another sticker on there. And Kim for putting on this leg, so we always appreciate him.
Most definitely. Well, congrats on the win. Scott will get another sticker on that thing this week, I imagine, and we'll see you next week at Homestead.
Thank you, sir.
Later. All right, well, there was our race winner, Justin Michael. Let's talk to the runner-up here, Jeffrey Merck. Jeffrey Merck, you're up here in the booth with Ken Heber. Scott had to step away, but congrats on that second-place finish. It looks like you were kind of in fuel-saving mode tonight. What happened?
Yeah, it was just, well, some of the boringest, excuse my French, shit ever, having to clutch it for that long just to get a second-place finish.
You sound tired. It's pretty stressful just sitting there clutching it. I know that feeling, and that's why I never do it. I said I'll go to last place. I'm not going to save fuel.
Yeah, that's kind of my mindset on it too. But I mean, when somebody starts clutching it with 60 laps to go, I mean, to me that's not racing. I mean, I get it, you get a win that way, but God Almighty.
Yeah, well, he showed some pretty good prowess there on that first stint. I was kind of complimenting him on catching that second to last one there, saving as much fuel as he did, and I knew when he came out that he was pretty safe. And Scott and I were talking about it. It's like, I bet Jeff is going to have to start saving fuel. So we went in the cockpit and we spied on you, and we seen you clutching that thing.
Yeah, I mean, I would rather race for it, but when you get put in that position, you have to do what you have to do. I mean,
but you know what?
That's part of it. I mean, that's part of racing, but I mean, you don't see that on Sundays, people clutching it for 70 laps. But hey, if that's what you do, if that's what you have to do, that's what you have to do. Yeah,
sometimes it also depends on where the cautions fall too. It kind of changes things up. But you know what? You can't complain about a second place finish after all your struggles with the hurricane and everything like that. And you also had some internet struggles tonight that Scott and I noticed too, kind of dealing with the car jumping in and out. Was that affecting your racing at all tonight?
No, we still hadn't got everything back full power yet. I was expecting a little blinking because simple fact of I think we got internet like 3 days ago. So yeah, we got it back, but it's nowhere near full strength. But it's good enough for me to get on here, distress, race a little bit, my clutch leg's tired, but I'll give it a break and come back and try it again at a short track where, you can drive the car the whole race, maybe.
Just take the spring out of the clutch pedal. It'll be fine.
Yeah, there you go. I'll assign a button on my wheel. That way I just push the button down with my thumb.
So, Jeff, what do you got for Homestead next week?
Well, that depends. Is it going to be a fuel mileage race?
I have no idea. I'm not racing this year, so you're going to have to tell me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I had anything for Justin tonight or not. He was clutching it for so long. I don't know if he was, saving, or it's hard to judge who's got the fastest car when, like I said, you get within 70 laps of it. And you go, well, you can do 30. I think I could save 7 laps of fuel. Somehow that's possible in this game, but maybe something else iRacing should look at.
Yeah, well, I can tell you from our standpoint up here in the booth, we watched a pretty impressive race. It was a lot of fun for us, a lot of side-by-side. Fuel mileage, is one thing, but it was definitely fun for the fans and fun for Scott and I. And congrats on that second place finish. I know it's not a win, but maybe you can pull it out. Get back on your winning streak here next week at Miami. So, do you have anybody you want to thank tonight?
Yeah, first and foremost, my lovely wife. She's sitting over behind me, and I don't have a game room anymore. It got blew away during the hurricane. The good Lord up above for keeping everybody safe during the storm. That was a rough ride there for about 7 hours of 150-mile-an-hour winds, so that wasn't very fun. We lost pieces of the house. We lost some of my rig, lost all my motion, all that stuff, but everybody came through it safe. Big shout out to all the members here at Multi-League. All the guys were checking in on me periodically, making sure everything was okay and if we needed anything, and trying to get stuff together to get my rig back up and going. Big shout out to Anthony Santero. He sent me his one of his wheels that he wasn't using down because my wheel got destroyed in a storm.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Kim Quick for reaching out, going, hey, if you need anything, let me know, pedals, anything like that. Luckily, I saved my 3 monitors, the nose piece to my rig, my pedals, and I did order a new wheel because Ant was saying that other wheel is kind of a pain in the butt to set up, so I didn't want to hook it up wrong and hurt it or anything. So it's somebody else's stuff. So
sure.
My wife just said, go ahead and order a new wheel because you're going to need it anyway. So I got that ordered, got all that set up. Scott, who else? There's so many people to thank. If I forget anybody, I apologize. FPL, those guys busted ass 24 hours a day to get everybody's power up back down. I think it took a week and everybody had power. Xfinity, Comcast, yeah, they were a little slow, but they did get everything up and going. A lot of people down here lost everything. I'm sure people seen that on the news. So Southwest Florida, we took a beating, but as they say, Southwest Florida's strong. So we'll rebuild. We'll get everything back the way we had it. Scott Patton, Ken Huber up in the booth, all my teammates over at Bandit Motorsports. Those guys kept reaching out to make sure everything was going okay if I needed anything. I know I give Justin crap for being I'm gonna nickname him Justin Clutch Michael over there, and but he did. He reached out. I reached out to him, and I was like, asked him if he still had his old rig before I knew I could salvage what I did of mine. He has an old rig he's not using. He said he'd just give it to me. A big shout out to a teammate that
Very
did
cool.
that.
Yeah, very cool.
I know I'm kind of long-winded here, but I got a lot of people to thank that's been reaching out and wanting to help and do everything in their power to help me.
Yeah, definitely.
Stone River Outfitters. Look those guys up. They're the sponsor on the car. Primary sponsor for the league. Primary sponsor on this car. Matt LaVenture and all the guys up there, veteran owned and operated. They have a brick and mortar shop in New Hampshire, Stone River Outfitters. Swing by, look those guys up for all your fly tie and fly fishing needs. The premier fly tying shop in the Northeast.
Of course they are.
If you can't get to the Northeast, StoneRiverOutfitters.com. Tell them Multi-League sent you. Did I forget anybody?
wanted to say, glad to have you back from the people that are a little further north than that, Merc.
Thanks, Hernsey.
No problem.
Like I was saying, I was thanking all the multi-league guys. I know this is the longest second place interview ever, but I was just...
No, I think there's been a longer one. Scott told me to cut guys off if you did run long-winded or whatever, but I'm giving you a little bit of time tonight there, Jeff.
Yeah, I'm trying. Well, Scott messaged me and said get him as much overtime as he could, because I think after so many minutes he starts getting paid overtime or something.
I wish that was true. I wish we did get paid.
But now,
I'd be making some money. I'd be talking to you all night.
Yeah, but again, loving wife. She's sitting right behind me. I don't know if she's watching it or not. But
we seen her in the chat, so she was watching a little bit.
Yeah, she was definitely. I'm sure she checked in a couple of times. I'm happy with the second place. That'll keep me. Hopefully, I'll be second place in points. I'm just worried about making the top 4 and going to Phoenix. And
I think you're safe so far there.
And
you got a couple more races, and I think you're good.
And then we'll go from there. Homestead, I really like Homestead. It just depends on when the caution comes out. Really, I'm fast there, so we'll see. As long as it's not fuel mileage, because that never dawns in my brain until it's too late. And then, but anyway, thanks to everybody. It meant a lot to know that you got friends out there that would pretty much, do anything in their power to help you. So that goes a long ways. And that's it, I think.
All right. Well, congrats on that second place finish. Look forward to see you out there at Miami next week. There you have it from Jeff Merck. We're going to bring up our third place finisher. We got Wesley Holland up here in the booth with Ken Huber. Scott had to step away for a few minutes there, Wes, but great run tonight, getting that third place finish. It looks like you didn't have the fuel strategy figured out tonight.
I mean, I knew that I could probably make it if I tried, but with these last 3 races in the chase here, I knew that the worst I could finish if I pitted there would be in the top 5 somewhere. So I just decided to pit and make it for sure that I can make it to the end and get as many points as I could instead of running out late and have possibly finishing outside the top 10. So.
Well, that's probably why you're sitting third in points, I believe it was. And so you got a third place finish tonight and playing it safe. One thing I was commenting with Scott, looks like about halfway through the race, you got yourself up to the lead there. And then it was like the tires fell off or something. You started getting really loose. Is that kind of how the car was behaving tonight?
No, it was definitely loose once you burned about half the tank worth of fuel. So about 15 laps into the run, it was really loose there. But when I got the lead there, that was late in the run, and was just trying to get that extra bonus point before I pitted again. So kind of just drove hard to get there to try to get that point because I knew Vern was up there, and I'm sure that's who I'm going to be fighting with there to get into the final 4. So just secured points and did what we had to do to try to make it here, at least get some points before Martinsville, because that's the race that'll mix it all up. So
yeah, so I'm looking at the points right now, and correct me if I'm wrong, you still count the bonus points in this final 8. It isn't until you get to the last 4 where the bonus points go away, right?
Correct. Yeah, you get the bonus points throughout these next 3 races.
So it looks like you're sitting about, before tonight's race, you were sitting 63 points out of the lead in points. And then it looks like Vernon Margheim is just a couple points behind you. So yeah, it looks like cutting it close for sure. James Hearn's back there too. So it looks like you got to start really being careful. And I think you did a smart move tonight by playing it safe.
Yep. Like I said, that's pretty much what I intended on doing there when I knew that I wasn't going to be able to, clutch it as long as Justin and Merck were doing there. It just felt like it was not the right move to go ahead and try to clutch it to maybe finish 3rd or 2nd. Just decided to pit and be able to full throttle it out there at the end. So,
well, I don't know if you heard Merck's interview, but he was definitely complaining about how much he had to clutch it that last session.
I heard him at the end of the race. He wasn't too happy about that.
Yeah, I never heard somebody so disappointed about a second place about clutching it. It's like sometimes that's the way it works out, though, So, but
yeah, see, that would have been me. That would have been me complaining about how much I had to save fuel, and I didn't do that. So,
well, it worked out for you. You still got that podium slot. What do you got for us next week at Miami Homestead?
Pretty much same strategy throughout these next 2 races after this. So, just finish good and try to stay out of incidents and get as many points. Just want to make it to the Final Four. That's all. That's the only race that matters. This whole entire season, it's the only race that matters. So,
does the third race of this series kind of make you nervous being Martinsville?
Nah, it always does. I mean, those short tracks, they'll get you. So, Martinsville being probably one of the toughest ones to try to come out with a clean race and finish them well at. So, anything can happen there. Stack as many points as we can next week at Miami and head on to see what Martinsville's got for us. Hope we can make it to the Final Four.
Well, so it's been really cool for us, Scott and I, seeing Holland Sr. out there in the chat, watching you just about every week. So I'm sure he's going to be rooting you on without a doubt. Anyway, you got anybody else you want to thank tonight?
Just all the dudes over here at Apple who hang out each week and somehow keep this drive in me throughout 36 races. So appreciate them guys, you guys up in the booth doing this broadcast stuff. It's pretty awesome. And all the admins in the league and everybody putting on the show every week for us. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Wes, and good luck to you next week at Miami Homestead.
I appreciate it.
Well, there you have it. There was our podium finishers, and Scott had to step away, so I'm kind of doing the closeout. Oh, there he is. He's back.
Hey, I'm back, folks, but we're going to cut this a little bit shorter than usual, so I appreciate everybody watching here at the Multi-League Racing Network. My name's Scott Patton on behalf of Ken Huber and myself. Appreciate all your help, Ken, and we will talk to you next week from Homestead, Miami, Florida. Jeff Merck's home state. Join us there next week, Monday, same bat time, same bat channel, 8:30 Eastern time. See you then. Thanks for watching, folks. Hit subscribe, hit like, and we'll see you next Monday.
Good night, everybody.